Recording. It is. Yeah. Okay. This one starting. It says an issue with Wi-Fi. I'm here. We're getting the other cameras going. Just a second. Looks like it wants to go. Is this still on? It's on. Let's see here. We're still here. Connected devices. It's an iPhone, so it's connected. It just doesn't want to work. I don't know if the others. Well,
probably will stay around the hammer 8
Jack says the video quality is poor. Well, it is what it is. Okay. We're just going to go out. All right. Am I in frame? I need to kneel down?
Nope.
I'm good?
Yep.
Do I need to shrink?
Yeah, shrink.
Okay.
Inward.
Hey, it's Roman Rich here at the Gasconade River Bridge here in Hazel Green, Missouri. Got myself together a small group of individuals. Most of them are locals. Some of them come from out of state to help save the bridge. And we're here kind of as a last-ditch effort to gain awareness for our beloved 66 bridge here, located just on the edge outside of Pulaski County and inside of the plea county line. And so we're going to talk a little bit with some of the individuals here about what this bridge means to them, but more importantly, we're going to discuss the whole idea of how we're going to actually try to get this bridge saved and who should be interested in this bridge, what individuals or entities should take interest in this bridge. And I'll start off by saying that MoDOT is giving the bridge away not just for free, but they'll actually give any responsible entity, in other words, financially responsible entity, they'll actually give them funds that cost to demolish this bridge, and that's estimated to be right about $200,000 right now. So we want to kind of bullet point a few things and go over a few things. This is an old section of Route 66. Route 66 is a historic landmark in itself. Started in 1926, decommissioned right around 1985, and this bridge is older than that. This bridge was built in 1923, so this is actually older than Route 66. This is one of the first bridges in the area. So what does that mean to us? Well, Route 66 is a highly important tourist destination for people all over the world. We see people from all over the globe coming to experience Route 66. Pretty soon, over to our north, they're going to be, and Jamie's going to try to pan over that way. That's the new bridge that was built to take the place of this old bridge. And sometime this year, they're going to open that bridge up. Now, what's going to happen when that bridge opens up? Go ahead and pan back over, Jamie, if you would. That bridge is going to open back up, and that's going to take all the Route 66 tourists that were having to take the interstate to go west. Now they're going to actually be able to get back on Route 66 to come down this road, skirting around this bridge. But in my estimations, that's going to cause a lot more visitors and people to actually come to this bridge and stop and see it. Would you agree with me?
100%.
Yes. We're getting a lot of visitors down to the bridge now, and that's kind of remarkable because they have to go way out of their way to get to this bridge. From either direction, they have to go way out of their way, miles to get back to this bridge. Now it's just as simple as they'll be driving past it, and it'll take a little 1/8 mile detour to get down to the bridge. So when that happens, from what I've found on Route 66 and just in tourism in general, is that when people stop and they get out and they start exploring and they start experiencing the area, well, number one, their fascination grows as to the history of the area. What's going on here? What happened here? What are some of the remarkable things that took place in this area that I'm at? But more importantly, they get hungry, they get tired, they need gas, they need stuff. If they need stuff, where do they go? And that's going to lead us on to where I'm going later on in this topic. So, but before I get to that, I want some people to share their stories about Route 66 and this bridge in particular and how important that is. This is Ray Jeter. He's a longtime local. Try to speak up, Ray. I know you're...
I'm born and raised here. Me and my brother learned how to swim underneath this bridge right here. 6 and 7 years old. And it was a big park up here. And there was always a lot of activity going on. And a lot of people walking back and forth across this bridge, because even then, it was already in history. And it's got radically worse since. But my grandpa on my mother's side bucked ribbons on this bridge in the late 20s, whenever it was built. It's this one end right here has been totally, this small end, it's been pretty much totally replaced because the trucks come down through here and tear it down.
Yeah.
Down off over the hill too fast. And that's when no works on the other end, but all up here towards the curve.
Yeah.
Little tavern up here, and they'd back out in front of the trucks. They didn't have anywhere to go besides over here.
And they hit the side of the bridge.
Hit the side of the bridge, always on this side over here.
Yeah, and that's a good point. Go ahead and pan back or pull back out.
Yeah.
So when we first set out to save the bridge about almost 5 years ago now, there was some discussion as to maybe the county could take over the bridge. And at that point, we really didn't know what was going to happen with this bridge. It took a couple of years for Missouri, MoDOT, to figure out what they were going to do exactly with the bridge. And so at that time, there was a lot of speculation, and there was a lot of hands being thrown up in the air going, oh, we can't take it, we can't do it. And one of the reasons why the Guardians advocated for a new bridge instead of repairing or replacing this particular bridge, I mean, obviously out of the gate, we wanted to see this one repaired, but this is a major incident bypass route. So when something happens out on I-44, they divert all traffic to this section of road. And you can see we're all standing here in the middle of the road. How wide is the road? It ain't very big. And you can just imagine 2 semi-trucks coming down at the same time. This is a dangerous section of road to be used as an incident bypass route. So the Guardians heavily favored building a new bridge to skirt around this one or to spur around this one. It's been done before. It's been done in many places before. Like off the top of my head, Riverton, Kansas, they did that with one of the bridges. You can actually still drive that one. Another one is Rio Puerco Bridge, just outside of Albuquerque, New Mexico. And that particular bridge, you can't drive on it, but it's an old bridge too, probably a little bit younger than this one, but you can still walk on it and stuff. But the road goes around it. Why we wanted to do that is because we were afraid of people coming down and hitting this bridge and damaging it to the point where they were forced to replace it. So now at least it can remain in place and just sit here in peace and not have to be worried about disturbances. In fact, just to the east of us, back in Pulaski County in Devil's Elbow, Missouri, they've got a bridge almost identical to this one. They had it restored back in 14 or 15. 14.
Yeah, we've been 4 years old.
Yeah, I thought it was like late 14, somewhere in that neighborhood.
14 when we built this one.
Yes, it was. Yeah, I thought they had just got done finishing.
Well, I'm not for sure about that.
Yeah.
But it's been open quite a while.
I know I drove over it with an RV as soon as they opened it up, and that was in late 14. So sometime in 14, they opened the Devil's Elbow Bridge. Well, like a year and a half ago, somebody with a large truck hit the bridge and took out the upper girder. We don't want to see that happen to this bridge. So If you're thinking about, well, why don't they reopen it? Well, that's why. It's a historic structure. We want to see it remain for the long term, and if it's subjected to modern traffic, there's a good chance that it could get damaged and possibly demolished just through the use of the public.
They raised these girders overhead
Yep.
3 times.
Yeah, you can see where they raised the girder.
12.6 whenever it was built.
12'6".
Yeah.
So we've got over 2 foot addition to it.
They raised it 3 times.
So here's kind of our plea. I'm going to go into a couple things. We were talking about making tourists stop on Route 66. They're going to stop and see this place. They're going to get out of their car. They're going to look around. They're going to go down to the water's edge. They're going to take in the sights, the smells, the sounds of the Ozarks. And when they leave out of here, we're kind of breaking up that momentum of their travel. They're going to be eager to stop in the next town to spend some money. And that's where tourism dollars come into play. The next town from here, predominantly most travelers are going to head west from here. Most of your Route 66 travelers, they go west. They don't come east. I'd say probably 80% go west.
Start from Chicago.
Yeah, most of them start in Chicago rather than starting in Los Angeles. So the next town up in this county is Lebanon. That's the next town, period. There's no other big towns at all. There's a couple gas stations here and there, but if you want an actual town where you can find centers of commerce and supplies and food and places to sleep, you're going to be stopping in Lebanon. That's why this bridge is important to the city of Lebanon and to Laclede County. These phone numbers you see behind me, these are for significant people that are part of the leadership of Lebanon and Laclede County. So right now, MoDOT has their whole STIP thing going right now, and that, without getting into a lot of details, it's just a federal guideline that they have to follow to allow people to speak out against something being destroyed, such as this bridge. In order for MoDOT to be able to carry out the process of taking down the bridge, if they want federal assistance, financial assistance, they have to have an open hearing for people to talk about the bridge. It doesn't mean they have to do anything, and I can tell you they're not going to do anything, because it's really their objective in life for MoDOT is to provide safe passageway for people using their transportation systems. And they've done that by providing this bridge just to the north of us. They fulfilled their obligation to the public. They're not in the business of building parks and resorts and things like that. However, Laclede County, and you see these numbers up here, does have an interest in this. They should have an interest in this bridge. This bridge is a big source of tourism for Laclede County, and they don't even have to do anything. The bridge comes with a $200,000 approximate gift from MoDOT. Doesn't mean that they have to use that money for the bridge. It just means that they just have to keep it kind of on the books, keep liability insurance for it, and that's about it. And a perfect example of another county that did the same exact thing is down in Joplin, Missouri with the Reddings Mill Bridge. That's a different type of bridge, but same thing. The bridge came up for replacement. The people kind of spoke out against it. There was talk about somebody putting on a restaurant on top of the bridge. Finally, the county, I forgot, what's the name of the county for Joplin? Is it Jasper County? Okay. All right, Jasper County finally just said, you know what, we'll take the bridge. They got the money from MoDOT that it was going to cost to demolish it. And if you go there today, the bridge looks pretty much similar to this now, where the wildlife is growing up around it, vegetation growing around it. It's somewhat maintained, but they haven't done anything to enhance the bridge. So that's my argument. That's my appeal to Lebanon and Laclede County. And so if you really want to help out there in Facebook land and YouTube and all that, if you really want to help, you can help. You can be a part of this. We would like, and we're going to provide down in the comments some important links that you can go to make sure your voice is heard. But in addition to sending in your comments to MoDOT, because they want to hear it, but we feel that it's equally important or even more important to contact these people, every single one of them on this list right here, and not chastise them, but support them, support the community, and tell them how important it is to put this bridge into Laclede County, to make the Clee County assume ownership of this bridge. That's how important it is.
That's some of the history of Laclede County.
That's right. This is a major piece of history for Laclede County.
Some of them were saying they couldn't see the phone
Okay.
numbers that well, so I'm trying to get a little shot.
And we're
of
going to
it.
provide this later on down in the links. If somebody is watching right now and you're at a computer, maybe you could take and transcribe this and put it in the comments real quick for people to go ahead and reference to real easily. I can only do so much right here in front of the screen. Who else would like to speak? I'm going to call out Tom Masteller. Would someone take the sign for Tom? Tom, for coming up. Tom's from a little place called Red Top, Missouri, and that is a real place that you can actually find on a map.
It is. I've been on this bridge many times in my life. First time I can remember was in 1974. What would that be? 45 years ago. I bought my very first drivable car right up the road at the Hazelbury gas station. The station is still there, and this bridge has always been part of my life because we drive across it a lot. 366 cruises we've had in the year. We take the bridge and take pictures. I've dragged race across this bridge a couple times. I probably shouldn't admit that. And I've spent some time under the bridge, probably doing some other things that people don't talk about. But it's a good place. It needs to be preserved history. And unlike a lot of things on Route 66, including Red Top Court, which is gone, this should be saved. And I do hope the effort's put into it.
Thanks, Tom. So I also want to mention the fact for anyone who's out there in Laclede County, again, the bridge, it could pretty well remain as it sits right now. It is, however, eligible for some significant grants through a lot of different organizations. And there's actually, this is through Vicki Hartzler's office. They told me there's actually some organizations out there that will help find any and all potential grants for different organizations that are available. So there's grant money available for this. Lord knows that there's people in the office that are very volunteer-minded that will come out and help clean up the bridge, take care of graffiti, maybe knock the weeds and stuff down, things like that. There's a lot of people that'll do that because they love this bridge, and this bridge is a source of many memories for you all, isn't it? Lots of memories. I've only been doing Route 66 since the early 2000s. I mean, I've come across this bridge since then, but that's just the tip of the iceberg compared to what everyone else here has seen and witnessed over their lifetime. Let's see here. Who else wants to speak? Mark, you want to come up? Sure. All right, Mark Norman, tell them where you're from. Tell them how far away that is, and then tell them what this bridge and what Route 66 means to you.
Well, first of all, I'd like to take just the opportunity to say thank you to Rich for all that he has done and will continue to do as part of the Missouri Route 66 Association. He's a wonderful president. We're glad to have him. I came into a recent connection with Route 66, living in Louisville, originally from Huntsville, Alabama, due to some health issues, and I won't go into a lot of detail there. I also came to some realizations and began to do some research and ran across Rich on YouTube and began to connect Route 66 to some boyhood vacations that I'd done. I remember the holes in the ground being the Grand Canyon, Meteor Crater. I remember very well the Cadillac Ranch, the cars in the ground, vibrating beds, neon, just all sorts of things. And I said, hey, I've got a boyhood connection to Route 66, and I just recently discovered Route 66 in November of this past year and did my first journey starting in here in Santa Monica, going backwards to Chicago. So I ran it back and absolutely fell in love with it. And you can't put it into per se words as far as the way it has affected my life in general.
So you've got a picture of the bridge on your shirt here. Tell us a little bit what motivated you about getting this shirt. How did the shirt come to fruition here?
My very first trip in November, I came through this section. I was using the Route 66 navigation app, and it showed this as a point of interest. I said, okay, I'm going to jump down here and check it out. I drove around, stopped, got out and looked it over, and absolutely just fell in love with this area. To the point that I stayed here, took pictures, just kind of looked it over. I'm a southern boy, so the river, fishing, just the general aura of this area just is so attractive. The Ozarks are just beautiful country. And so I've been coined the name of Moving Mark. And so I thought as far as the very first t-shirt that I would do would be one of the Gasconade River Bridge. This was taken about 4 months or so ago. standing at the fishing dock area down here. And this is my first short. I'll be providing these or selling these and giving some proceeds toward the benefit of the Gasconade River Bridge. The thing is, why am I interested in this bridge? You can pick up a piece of this asphalt or a piece of this Portland cement here, and chances are high that my dad, who is no longer with us, drove us across this actual bridge. And a piece of his tire may have actually touched this concrete in this asphalt and came around these curves here long before I-44 came into play. In the small old town Americana that we are so desperately losing on a daily basis.
That's right.
We've got to save it, folks. It's not just a bridge. It's a piece of history. It's something that we can carry on and bring. I don't have children myself, but people can bring their children down and say, hey, your great-grandpa drove across this bridge. And Route 66 is not just a road. It's a mentality, it's a philosophy, it's a way of life. It has become so ingrained in me that I'm working since November. I'm working on my 5th or 6th actual trip up and down Route 66. Not the whole thing, but pieces apart. There are two, I'll end this in saying that there are two favorite places, Painted Desert Trading Post out near Chambers, Arizona, near the Painted Desert Painted Desert National Park. I've gone out on 2 work sessions out there. Absolutely, that is a favorite place. It's very spiritual. This is also a very spiritual place. Just spend some time here. You got the traffic in the background, but if you sit here just long enough, that traffic disappears. You begin to hear the birds chirping, the fish jumping, the waves down in the other river. This is just an unbelievably heart-touching place. Help us save it. Call these numbers. Share this post. Do the things that we ask in the ways that we can continue this. This bridge is not going to go away. Our heart is still beating. Sure as you need some Band-Aids. But take this numbers and call these numbers. She needs to live another, she was born in 1920, 1924 time frame. She needs to survive into the next generation. We need to take Route 66 into the 22nd century, which can't be done with people like this wonderful group that's gathered here and Ron Rich. So thanks
Mark.
Everybody.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
You kind of heard Mark talk about the lineage of Route 66 and a connection to his father, and it goes beyond that. It's a connection to, for Ray Jeter here, it's a connection to his grandparents, great-grandfather who actually drove rivets on the bridge. For me, I like to wonder about what kind of celebrities in the past used this bridge. I mean, it's probably a pretty good likelihood that Elvis Presley probably crossed over this bridge one point. Tons of different celebrities over the time have crossed over this bridge. So it's a piece of history that you can touch, feel, and it connects you all sorts of elements of our history. You know, we're sitting on the bridge right now. Nobody's scared of the bridge, and nobody's in fear that the bridge is going to fall. One of those reasons why we can do that is because the Gasconade Guardians, as a group, engineering study done for the bridge. We had a group that is experienced and specifically looks at bridges and does consultations and engineering reports for bridges. We had them come all the way from San Antonio, and they spent 3 days here examining and analyzing the different aspects of this bridge and what makes it safe or what makes it dangerous. And we have that study on file. We paid a pretty good sum of money to get it, about $12,000 what we paid to get that study performed. But in layman's terms, this bridge is safe. This bridge is not going anywhere. Verbally, the engineer told me this bridge could sit here another 50 years and not go anywhere. So it's not like it's a detriment to our community. It's a pillar, it's an icon of our community. Please call these numbers. Please find their addresses, email addresses, and write them letters. Every one of them. Get every one of them. Tell them how important this bridge is. Who else would like to speak? Marie? Come on up, Marie. Lily, can you just kind of hold this right here?
Good.
make sure to speak up so everybody can
Good
hear
and
you.
loud.
Okay. I also took the family road trip in 1967 with siblings and my parents to Disneyland, and we also probably crossed over this bridge at that time. If 1923 bridge is when the bridge was built.
23 to 24. Yep.
Okay, so then in 4 or 5 years will be the 100-year anniversary for this bridge.
Correct.
It could be a big deal. It could be a special event. And we walked across the bridge today. This is actually my first time back since those years ago. And it's a beautiful river here. You have a site over here that you could go canoeing or launch your kayak at. People can picnic, and it should be saved. So all of you could do, please do. Thank you.
Thanks, Bree. Well, we're probably going to be winding it down, but I do want to stress the importance of shifting our attention from MoDOT over to Laclede County. We think it's highly important to them. There's a couple other individuals that if anybody out there happens to know how to get in contact with, I'd like to hear from you. Johnny Morris, who happens to own Bass Pro Shops, I know he's a strong advocate, and his daughter, Megan Morris, they're in the middle right now saving a bridge down in Ozark, Missouri, along with the mill that's right there next to it. And that's a phenomenal place. I mean, it's a beautiful bridge. It looks almost just like this one. And the mill is right next to it. It's a fantastic place to take pictures. And right now they're working on that project, and I applaud them for that. I'm hoping maybe they might be interested in taking on another project. And again, they don't have to do anything with it. They just have to show responsibility that they can absorb the financial burdens that may arise, not that will arise, that may arise. In other words, they don't have to actually spend any money. They just have to show that they're capable of spending the money if that were to come to some sort of need. Another person, Steve Plaster, he's the son of Robert Plaster. If you don't know the history of them, Robert started the Empire Gas Company here in Laclede County. Pretty well widely known name. If anybody has any connections to Steve Plaster, we'd like to talk to him too, see if he's interested in possibly putting this bridge into his possession. So that's all I have for right now, unless other people want to speak. Larry, come on up, Larry. I want everyone to have a chance to meet people. So, Larry, tell us who you are and where you're from.
Well, my name's Larry. I live right here in Lebanon. My parents retired down here in 1981. But the first time I went across this bridge, I was about this tall in the back seat of a 61 Impala on the family vacation because we had relatives drawn from Chicago to Mesa, Arizona, including Albuquerque and Oklahoma City. And every year, the Beck family would come down through here, and I've done it in a 61 Impala, a 64 Mercury, 68 Galaxy with Mom and Dad, a 71 Plymouth. I've hitchhiked it myself 3 times back in the day. I also, like Dan, have done some little off-the-wall things here and years down below. But now I live here in Lebanon. I've been here since '91. I've driven it more times than I come down here now and exercise on it, walk it both ends. I really think that with the things that Laclede County and Lebanon has done with the Camp Joy cabin, been just redone in our Route 66 festival the last couple of days, that this could be so much of an asset to the community. Like Rich says, for drawing tourists to stop, to spend money, to spend the night in the Lents Manor, to spend the night at Munger Moss, and have catfish at Dowd's Catfish.
That's right.
And all the rest of the things that go along with it. Since we have the Route 66 museum in the library and everything, I think that this would just be another major feather in the cap of Laclede County for the tourist industry. And it's history. You can't replace it.
That's right.
We need to pass it on.
That's right. I agree. Very well said, Larry. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Lebanon has so much to offer that, personally, I can envision a small kiosk here inviting people to the area, locals, tourists, explaining the history, not just of the bridge, but there's a Native American history that takes place here along this landscape immediately on both bridge, there's a Native American presence on both sides of the bridge. The Osage Indians. And if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but there was a meteor that had crashed over here too, just off of the Gascade, right? Created this basin, is that correct? A meteor had struck, meteorite?
Up near Decaturville, there was one that's confirmed, but there also was one here.
Yeah.
Not
So
sure here.
back to what I was going on, it would be great to see a kiosk of some sort, a little informational center explaining the history, but not only that, helping to guide tourists as they progress out west. What are some of the attractions that lie awaiting for them in Lebanon, at Bennett Springs, throughout the downtown? It's a great opportunity for Chamber of Commerce to make their presence known here and to demonstrate to people, hey, we've got an active town here with a great economy that has everything you need, and we would really like it if you come and stop and shop with us. So that's my appeal. That's my argument for why Lebanon, why Laclede County should take this bridge. Who else wants to talk? Okay, here comes Elizabeth. Elizabeth Lauren
All right.
from St. Louis, Missouri.
Hey, Blues!
Somebody was asking why there's no banner here.
For the Blues?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I don't have a personal connection to this specific bridge, but I am a firm believer in preserving history, and it's breaking my heart to see how much history is just being demolished when there is no need, and just I feel like it just needs to be saved for generations to come. It is a beautiful structure with potential, and that kills me to see things with so much potential just disappear.
yeah.
I'm thinking about the Chain of Rocks Bridge right now, and that was on the verge of disappearing, and that was saved.
It was saved because the price of scrap steel had gone down so
Yeah.
much that it was really kind of a burden to take it down. And then some years later, it was allowed to be resurrected.
So that's my feelings. I'm just tired of things just needlessly disappearing for more modern,
Lifeless.
yeah,
Yeah.
boring structures
I
that
mean-
have nothing creative
Yes.
at all about them.
It's a functional structure over there, no doubt about it. It gets the job done, but it doesn't say anything about the time in which we live. It doesn't.
Across that bridge, don't even know what they're doing.
It's right. You can't even know. You know you went across the bridge.
Right.
It doesn't beg attention to look down at the river. It doesn't.
At 80 miles an hour.
Right. Yeah. It doesn't tell you about the culture of society and the craftsmanship of the people that did the work back then. And
I
so
read one time that there was 95% of local people that
95% of what?
labor that built this bridge.
95% laborers.
From this area.
Yeah. From the Lebanon and Laclede area. Right. So one thing about this bridge, incorporating into future use, I've already seen, and Elizabeth here, she's a photographer. I've seen and heard of wedding shoots taking place here already. I've heard and seen prom pictures being taken here already. So there is a legitimate interest in this bridge from the locals. I mean, people aren't going to drive from 2 hours away to get their wedding photos taken here. I mean, they could, but it's not likely. But people here locally are doing it. So it's definitely a legitimate interest here from your community, and that's why Lebanon should take a special interest in making this part of their community. Yeah, it's a few miles away, but this could be the gateway to Laclede County, the gateway to Lebanon. Anyone else? Lily, you want to talk? No? That's my daughter Lily, and it's Father's Day. That's why I got first of 5. Well, if nobody else has anything to say, any other ideas? Has there been any questions I need to pay attention to, Jamie, that you saw chance?
Not really, except for that some people want for those numbers to be reposted after we get done,
Here they are. This is going to be the end of the segment.
because it was a little blurry with the signal.
Yeah. Here it is. We're going to do this later, and hopefully somebody has already kind of taken the time to help us out. and to transcribe those numbers and put them into a post. That would be very helpful. And if anyone can find the email addresses or actually physical mailing addresses that accompany these individuals, that would be especially important too. Anything we can do to get in touch with these people, but I would say email is probably the best method of communicating with these important individuals, the leadership of Laclede County, and letting them know that this is an important part of the Ozarks and an important part of Laclede County.
There's a tremendous amount of people in this area that's all on Facebook.
That's right.
That needs to be put on Facebook,
Yep.
and that's going to
It's-
contact
That's where it's
a lot
going
of
right now.
folks in the Laclede County area.
Yep. So I want to thank everyone today that came out here today. I want to thank everyone out there in Facebook and YouTube land that are sharing and watching this and paying attention. I appreciate your time. The people that drove from out of state, like Mark, Marie, anybody else? No one else drove from out of state, did they? No. People that came from around the area that come out today on Father's Day, of all days. We had a pretty good turnout, in my opinion. This was very short notice. I only gave people about a day's notice. So special thanks to all you guys that came out. I'm Roman Rich. I appreciate your support. Please get in contact with these people, and we're going to get this bridge saved with your help, and we're all going to be really happy once that's accomplished. So as always, go your own way. I'll see you down the road.
Go take a little tour down the bridge.
Okay. Thank you.
Over 35.
I know. I'm a young person, I think. At least I look like it.